The world of motorsport was recently shaken after a heated altercation involving former NASCAR driver Matt Tifft at the ASA Stars National Tour Glass City 200 on September 14, 2024. The incident, which occurred at Toledo Speedway, escalated from an on-track collision to a violent post-race brawl. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has now decided to voice his concern about the matter, and he has some strong words to say against NASCAR. Matt Tifft, who has a history in both the NASCAR Cup and Xfinity Series, had a promising race that was cut short when fellow competitor Billy Van Meter made contact with him on the track. This collision caused Tifft to spin out, ending his day prematurely as another car crashed into his disabled vehicle. Frustrated, Tifft approached Van Meter's pit area after the race to confront him about the incident. What followed, however, took a shocking turn. And we will always be here to report on the most shocking news in NASCAR, so hit that subscribe button for our channel, and let us do the rest. You won't regret it. As Tifft tried to engage in conversation with Van Meter, tensions quickly flared. According to reports and video footage shared by Tifft on social media, the confrontation spiraled into a physical altercation. Brian Glaze, a crew member for Van Meter's team, was seen kicking Tifft in the face while he was being restrained on the ground. The video of the attack drew widespread outrage from the racing community, with many fans and fellow drivers condemning the violent behavior. Tifft, known for his calm demeanor, handled the situation with remarkable composure despite the attack. Former NASCAR driver Dale Earnhardt Jr. thinks that NASCAR are to blame for this incident. "Matt gets kicked in the face. They gotta handle that guy," said Dale Jr. "He needs to not be at the racetrack for a long time. The guy who kicked Matt should not be allowed at a racetrack for a long time. No questions asked. I'm sorry, that's the way that goes. Matt, ASA has a rule. Don't go into somebody else's pit. Matt will get penalized. He is getting penalized for going into that pit. That's a rule. I'm not going to change my rule because Matt got kicked in the face. Sorry for Matt. Don't go in that guy's pit." NASCAR tries to stay out of the, well, we don't know if he meant to wreck the guy. We can't get into the gray area of assuming that was intentional. But maybe they need to have some sort of, hey, if you're involved, you're guilty. But that's tough. That's tough to govern. In comparing NASCAR to other racing disciplines, Earnhardt Jr. pointed to the stricter regulatory framework in supercars, particularly noting the experience of Shane Van Gisbergen. Look at SVG, right? They have such strict rules in supercars that he got to Cup racing and he's like, damn, these boys run through you. They bump you around. They push you around. He's like, we can't do that at supercars. We're not allowed to touch each other. We gotta learn to get around a guy without fucking, it's a penalty. Like encroachment if you bump into another car. In racing series outside NASCAR, the rules and regulations are much more strict. As Dale said, cars are not even allowed to touch each other while racing. If there's any indication that any driver or drivers have caused an accident, there will be a penalty imposed. But NASCAR is not like that. In NASCAR, cars are basically allowed to bump each other as much as required. Only in severe cases, where it is evident that a driver caused a collision intentionally, the governing body decides to step in. But in this case, NASCAR doesn't seem to be taking any action. The reason for this could also be that the incident happened at the ASA Stars National Tour and not the NASCAR Cup Series. Since the viewership is much lower here, NASCAR will not take this incident seriously. But if the same incident had happened in the Cup Series, NASCAR will be under tremendous pressure from the community to take action and ban the culprit from the sport. Matt Tifft was naturally not very happy after the altercation. He took to social media to put down his thoughts. "First off, I'm okay. Nothing broken, just got that black eye. But wanted to address something from all the comments and people asking me if I'm going to press charges. First of all, I went over there to go confront the driver. I wasn't not expecting a fight. That happens. But what's a chicken shit move is really getting thrown on the ground and then somebody coming up and kicking someone while they're on the ground. And that's about as low as it gets. I've been thinking about it more," he added. "We'll see. Let me know what you guys think I should do. But we'll see what happens there. I will be back and racing the series. Had a lot of fun driving those cars. But a driver who takes out $200,000 worth of equipment and crew guys like that, they got no place in our sport." Initially, Tifft indicated that he did not plan to press charges. However, after reflecting on the situation, he reconsidered his stance. While Tifft stated that he personally might not pursue legal action, he expressed concern about setting a dangerous precedent for younger drivers in the sport, many of whom look up to their older counterparts as role models. So Tifft thinks that this type of action has no place in motorsport. His decision to weigh the option of pressing charges comes not just as a response to his own experience, but as a way to maintain the integrity of racing for future generations. In a public apology posted on Facebook, Brian Glaze acknowledged his unacceptable behavior and expressed regret, commenting, "I'm sure by now everyone has saw the video going around. I first of all want to apologize to Matt Tifft. I acted in a manner that isn't acceptable, and I wish I could change it. I truly and honestly thought he just knocked my little brother Billy out. Reacted out of anger, which by any means isn't acceptable. I can promise you one thing, I'm very disappointed in myself and my actions. Billy isn't just a driver, he's my little brother that I sacrifice all of my free time to make sure I can do my part to grease the wheel. I also want to apologize to Billy, Ed, and Don, Van Duren Racing, and all of our sponsors." Well, sure, Billy is like a little brother. Doesn't mean you kick a competitor in the face while the man's on the floor and stopped fighting. That was just absurd. This is a huge black mark for Brian Glaze. Ideally, the governing bodies should not allow him back on track ever again. This action crossed several lines, and there's no coming back from that. Hence, Matt Tifft must press charges against Brian Glaze. Given that NASCAR doesn't seem to be doing anything about the incident, it's time for Matt to take it to the authorities and take legal action. This way, the drivers and crew members will understand the consequences of their actions before getting involved in a fight. The altercation has drawn significant attention, not just for the violence, but also because of Tift's medical history. The former driver underwent surgery in 2016 to remove a brain tumor, and he later retired from full-time competition due to health concerns. The fact that Tifft, someone with a history of serious medical issues, was subjected to such an aggressive act has only intensified the outcry. Fellow NASCAR drivers and fans have rallied behind him, with many expressing their support and calling for stricter consequences for those involved in the altercation. One thing NASCAR should seriously consider is to enforce some serious sporting rules and regulations to minimize the conflicts on and off the track. So far, we have seen NASCAR promote fights as it provides entertainment for fans. But is this something that needs to be promoted? Definitely not. NASCAR should start penalizing, banning, and fining drivers and crew members committing such atrocities. NASCAR could even enforce some sporting regulations to limit the number of on-track contact between cars. Most other racing series don't allow such contact, and the quality of racing is not affected at all. So NASCAR could also benefit by enforcing such rules. The incident at Toledo Speedway has cast a spotlight on the sometimes volatile nature of racing, both on and off the track. As Matt Tifft contemplates his next steps, the racing community is left to grapple with the consequences of the altercation. With penalties already in place and the possibility of legal action looming, this incident will likely be a cautionary tale for drivers and teams alike about the importance of sportsmanship and respect in motorsports. Do you think NASCAR's governing of the sport is fair? Or do you think that NASCAR should enforce some sporting regulations to keep racing fair and hand out more severe punishments for drivers and crew members when they get involved in a fight? Post your thoughts in the comments section below.